stopping by here and being flexible and generous and gracious with his time. The man who, if you don't read on The Athletic, he alone is worth the price of the yearly subscription. It is one of the major reasons why I am a subscriber. It is Bruce Feldman. It is always great to see you, sir.
Thank you. That's very, very kind.
No, it's actually true. I mean, it's honestly one of my favorite websites. You can make a face all you want. It's the first thing I go, other than NFL.com. Look at me, zoom in. Wow. Other than NFL.com, where I make my daily bread. Yeah, my first two sites I go to every day.
Thank you.
Anyway, how's life? How's the college football season treating you?
College football season has been really, really good. We talked about this earlier today on our own podcast, where the TV ratings are way up from last year. Some of it's Deion related. Some of it, honestly, is because all these terrific quarterbacks are back and people love offense.
What do you make of the Deion phenomenon? Because I think the first couple of weeks, everybody was like, yay! And now it seems to be, for whatever reason, polarizing to some. And I don't get it.
I think it's because, like anything else, people, especially the diehard college football fans, feel like, all right, can we hear about something else? There's just some fatigue there. But I think what's been great is he has brought a lot of people who may not have been paying attention to college football, who maybe got tired of, Georgia and Alabama and Clemson every year. I think there's a newness there, and he's super charismatic, as you know. His team is fun to watch. They're an offensive team. His son's a really good quarterback. I think when they've been in the spotlight, Travis Hunter hasn't played in a few weeks since he got hurt in the Colorado State game. But you see stuff on social media where like, oh, that's pretty cool how he's handling this. How some of these guys. And so, look, sports are supposed to be fun, right?
Yes,
and
thank you.
They are making it fun. And so, we were around them for a couple weeks. I did not expect them to beat TCU. They were a 20.5-point underdog. It's been a wild and entertaining experience, and I think it's made the season better.
And let's say this too: Shedeur can play. All right, it's not all hype. I was speaking to an NFL GM at a training camp over the summer, and we had talked about what was going on in Colorado and the transfers, and can it actually work? And he said Shedeur's going to play in the league. He's like, I don't know if he's going to start, may not start day one, but he will play in the league. And that was before he got on the field in the Pac-12. And did what he is currently doing. He's a legitimate prospect.
Oh, no doubt. He's very accurate. He's got great presence. He's obviously really tough because he has a really bad offensive line. That's a patchwork offensive line. He's been sacked, I think, 10 times more than the next most sacked quarterback in the Pac-12. And he's still hanging in and making plays. And he's had guys get hurt and guys are new. Like, I don't know how you can look at him and go, man, I think he's going to be a legit NFL starter. Now, whether he is going to become an elite, guy who leads a team to a Super Bowl, who knows? You can never predict any of that, right? But if you told me Deion Sanders was going to get drafted in the top 15, I would have had more confidence in him than a couple of guys I thought might have got drafted in the first round, like 6 months ago.
Right.
Both out of the SEC. One guy was coming off an injury and system question mark. The other one, Will Levis, was just up and down. I know, Will Levis has a great arm and a strong arm, but everything I've seen from Shedeur has made me think, oh yeah, I could see him as a first-round quarterback.
Absolutely. Talking to Bruce Feldman here from The Athletic. USC went in there, obviously, with huge ratings and beat Colorado. Now USC, this Saturday evening, in primetime, goes into South Bend. Let's start with Brockman's thing first. Who's got more talent? Just athletes only, SC or Notre Dame?
Offensively, USC.
Clearly.
Caleb has more firepower around him. His offensive line isn't as good, although the Notre Dame offensive line last week against Louisville could not get a running game going. That's unusual for Notre Dame. Notre Dame, Mitchell Evans is a good tight end. I think that's, Caleb doesn't have that. Caleb has talented running backs just like Sam Hartman does, but I think he has much better receivers, more explosive guys. Notre Dame has speed, more speed than I think we typically think they do. Notre Dame, to me, is better on the defense side of the ball. That's not saying much because USC has been so bad the last year and a half. We're going to be there for Big Noon this weekend. I can't wait to get down there. I think what's fascinating to me is Notre Dame is coming off of this is going to be week 4 of a gauntlet. They had Ohio State first, physical, emotional game. They lose at the wire. Then they rally to beat Duke on the road. Then last week, they didn't look like they had anything in the tank. Credit to Jeff Brom in Louisville. They took it to them. They ran it down their throats. And now they got the big rivalry game with Caleb coming in there. And by the way, USC has looked really shaky the last 3 times out. So I don't know what you're going to get. My guess is I have a little more faith in Caleb than I do in Sam Hartman right now. And I just feel like it'll be a wild game. And in the end, I think Caleb will lead them to a win.
Will Lincoln Riley's faith in Alex Grinch be his downfall with this team?
My gut is no. I know that's people would be like, come on, what are you seeing in Alex Grinch? So my first impression of Grinch was he did an amazing job at Washington State for Mike Leach. They were awful on defense. They got to be really capable and very good. At Oklahoma, he took over a terrible defense. They got better. Then they regressed a little, but they were still better than what he took over. This was not a good situation. They are, everyone says internally that they are better than they were last year. They haven't really shown it. The last 3 weeks have been disappointing. And you just see guys not making plays on the ball. I feel like at some point, this thing will start to turn a little bit and they will get better. The thing I do wonder about, and this is why I'm not sure if this is a bigger than an Alex Grinch thing, but I think what you have at USC is you have very average guys in the secondary, and they're going up against Caleb Williams and really good receivers in practice. And I just wonder if it's like, okay, I did a big story for The Athletic this offseason on what's life as an air raid defensive coordinator. What are you going up against? Whether you're going up against Pat Mahomes and Davis Webb at Texas Tech when you didn't have a good defense, and Cliff is, lighting people up. It's like, how does the defense get its confidence when they're just like, they can barely get lined up? And I do feel like for USC, this is as much a problem of Monday through Friday as it is what happens on game day.
Excuse me, looking at the schedule here, it's Notre Dame, it's Utah, and I know the SC fans who are my neighbors still have nightmares about Utah.
Yeah, they ran last year.
Washington, Oregon, UCLA with Cal in between. You have 5 ranked teams as we sit here today. 2 top 10 teams plus Notre Dame, which obviously was up there a couple of weeks ago on that schedule. And maybe it's the South Bay. Oh, we all live in LA near each other. The South Bay SC anxiety that I feel that they don't think that defense can hold up to that second half of the season schedule.
I don't know why you would think they will. I mean, because you haven't seen enough so far against lesser competition to this point. Now, again, Shedeur is really good, but the offensive line is not. They're going to see better offensive lines now than some of those teams. You're going to see also a lot of different stuff. Whereas you look at the firepower that we're going to see this weekend. Oregon's playing Washington. 2 high-powered offenses with good receivers and quarterbacks playing really well, and they're much more complete teams than USC. They're going to play their arch rival, UCLA, who can run the football, and they're much improved on defense. Anthony Lynn's son, Danton Lynn, has been a great hire for Chip Kelly. They're the number 1 defense in the country right now. I mean, they did a terrific job against the hottest quarterback who was in the country last week, Cameron Ward, and shut them down. So there is a lot to ask for USC. I think there's got to be a point, and I still think it will happen, where somebody on USC's defense is not in terms of just pass rush will start to grow a little bit because they were so bad at linebacker last year. They're better now. They're not that much better, but they're definitely better. They're definitely more complete. Obviously, they had Thule last year, and now he's with the Chargers. He was disruptive. Now they have more guys up front. It's the secondary that has been a huge disappointment. They have to find a way to get their confidence up, and they need something good to happen. My hunch is it will happen, but I get why USC fans don't buy it.
Talking to Bruce Feldman here from The Athletic. Last thing on SC, kind of, sort of. How many people, and I know there are some, how many people out there actually like Drake Maye a little bit better than Caleb?
Ooh. I think there's definitely some. I would guess, and this right now, I would guess it's 20%. The hard part, like terrific arm, really good athlete. Now, I think what from a optics standpoint, he's playing in the ACC. Nobody really watches. That's the Power 5 conference. It seems like, yeah, maybe we'll watch Florida State and Clemson, but we're not going to watch, those other
UNC Syracuse and that horrible call on the blocked punt and,
I know
yard and a half shy of the marker.
Yeah. There's a lot of broadcasters who are watching that game secretly.
Do you know what play I'm talking about?
No.
Okay. So, now the gripe part of the broadcast with me and Chris Brockman. Opening drive, at least first quarter, scoreless game. SU defense gets off the field, blocks a punt, punter picks it up, kids running, trying to get to the sticks, and he got blown up like, was it Brian Moorman in the Pro Bowl by Sean Taylor?
Mm-hmm.
It was a Sean Taylor Pro Bowl kind of hit. A yard to a yard and a half shy of the marker. The officials, however, gave him the first down. The entire broadcast, that's not a first down. This is easily overturned. Officiating expert comes in, easily overturned. They didn't stop it. So, Dino challenges. And then after like a 10-minute review, they didn't overturn it. I know it sounds like I'm just bitter and angry and blowing it out of proportion. Was it that obvious to you, too? It was a yard and a half shot.
Like it, yeah. I mean,
but it proves your point. Nobody watches the ACC anyway. Back to what you're saying.
Anyway,
well, I think he is very talented. We did a story in the offseason about Caleb. He obviously couldn't come out last year, but if he would have, he would have been the first quarterback taken. I have no doubt of that. What's interesting is a lot of people in the NFL already know more about Caleb than they do most quarterbacks come out, because he went through this QB collective process where we know, like a lot of those, whether it's Sean McVay or Kevin O'Connell, a bunch of these guys helped work the camp when he was in high school. So they have a lot of familiarity. They know he's very talented, right? And so I think they look at him, and he's been on the radar for a long time. He does stuff that's different in terms of, like, he'll extend plays forever, right? And I don't know how much he'll be able to get away with that in the NFL, because the level of athletes are just way better, obviously, than they are that USC's facing. But there'll be little stuff that I could see. I would predict at some point there will be some nitpicky stuff that makes it into the long draft cycle where somebody will be like, yeah, we don't like that Caleb, because this came up to already, like, one of the people I talked to who's in the NFL was like, yeah, I'm sure somebody will make a big deal, say, oh, we don't like that he painted something on his fingernails, that kind of thing. And at the end of the day,
Pac-12 championship game last year.
Yeah, against Utah. At the end of the day, the people who are drafting, they're not going to care. But I think it will kind of go into the orbit. Like, it wouldn't also surprise me if J.J. McCarthy gets talked about, maybe not as the first pick, but also in the Drake Maye range, because I had a conversation with somebody in the NFL who works for a team who's like, we actually like J.J. McCarthy, or I do, more than they do on Drake Maye.
Fascinating.
Now, I think that's the minority of people. I think it's going to probably be Caleb, then some who will prefer Drake Maye, and then that'll be it. But this should be a loaded quarterback class, whether Quinn Ewers comes out, whether whoever, you still have these other guys in the Pac-12, but it will be such a deep crop. And in the back of your head, somebody's not going to make it, because that's the way it always works.
You mentioned J.J. McCarthy. Rank, in your order, the top three in the Big Ten. Is it clearly Michigan one?
I think it is. We had Ohio State last week. They struggled to run the football against Maryland, and they should have been down by Maryland. Instead, it was a throw. Leah, Tua's brother, missed in the red zone. It was a pretty open third down play. They had to settle for a field goal. Then they kind of botched clock management, so they didn't get points at the end. They should have been up. Ohio State didn't score an offensive touchdown till like midway through the third quarter. And this is like, I think Maryland's much improved, but it's not like Maryland is like the 85 Bears either. They could not get much going. I still think Ohio State, obviously they have Marvin Harrison Jr., they have a lot of talent. I think they are better on defense than they've been in the last few years. But I think Michigan, because Michigan hasn't played anybody yet, I think Michigan is the best team in the conference. They're the most physical. I think they're the most complete. I don't know if Penn State can usurp Ohio State. I do think Drew Aller is an upgrade from what they've had there the past few years. They have They have 2 really good running backs. They actually have a 3rd running back in Trey Potts who's good. They have a better offensive line than they've had in a while, and they got playmakers all over the defense. I know Joey Porter Jr. is not there anymore, but I had more freaks on my freaks list from Penn State than I've ever had from one
That's
school.
been a reoccurring theme, hasn't it?
Franklin has recruited, and their strength and conditioning guys have developed. And for people who roll their eyes at it, as you know, you go to the combine and you're there every year. Those Penn State guys, they back it up. They do. And whether it's Saquon or Gesicki or Owe or obviously Michael Parsons, you know, like
He's not bad.
No, he's not bad. And the thing is, it's like, you know, Chop Robinson is there, and they have all these dudes. Like if you told me Penn State ended up winning the Big Ten, I'd be like, yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
And Chop's a transfer too. Like when he was in Maryland, would he have been? Was he on your radar for the freaks list when he was a freshman at Maryland?
He was on the radar, yeah, because people knew he was a big time recruit, right? And it's not like Maryland has any. You go back to like Vernon Davis and guys like that. You know, Sean Merriman. You know, like they've always had, you know, obviously Diggs, but they've always had like some high level guys. They just haven't had enough of them, right? But Penn State has so many guys. It's just the question is, can they get over the hump and beat? You know, last year we had the Penn State Michigan game. Michigan ran it down their throats. You know, just mauled them, and that, you know, like they're doing that to the top level teams in their division. It's just, can it stop this year? I don't know.
I am actually, I have Ohio State this week. We are at Ross-Ade in West Lafayette on Peacock for the Buckeyes and Purdue, where Ohio State traditionally over the years have been there since 18, have obviously had trouble. Upset as a top 5 team there with Ryan Day.
Bringing Rondale Moore with you?
They're not. Rondale Moore is not walking through that door. So there goes my question. Can Ryan Walters with a banged up team find a way to pull off another West Lafayette upset?
I don't think so, because of what you said.
Yeah.
I don't think they have enough firepower.
Tight ends out, right tackles out, top corners out.
Yeah, that's a tough thing for Hudson Card and that offense. You know, they're running, you know, Graham Harrell's at air raid. I think they can put up some points against them, but I feel like Ohio State's corners are better, and I can see Ohio State getting a lot of pressure. Ohio State may not have a Chase Young up there, but they have really good players still. And, you know, I just feel like they're very solid now on defense, and I think that's a bad matchup for Purdue, to be honest.
Yeah, JT and Jack getting after Hudson Card, noon on Peacock, coming up on Saturday, and you are going to be
in South Bend. Yeah, get to go be in South Bend with my buddy Brady Quinn, who's like royalty there. I'm excited about that.
That's pretty cool. Awesome. Pretty cool. SC and Notre Dame, the greatest intersectional rivalry, coming up on Saturday evening. Bruce, it is always a pleasure to have you in. Safe travels. Maybe we'll pass each other in the middle of the night on a rainy Indiana highway.
Okay. Hopefully neither one of us will be driving those cars, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Bruce Feldman, everybody.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.